Welcome
to Munda Makeover.
We have traveled all over Zambia to find hard-working farmers.
We want to share their success stories.
And where there are challenges, we will bring experts to help them gain the extra knowledge they need.
So they can adapt and make their farms more productive even while the climate changes.
We want to support them to get better yields.
And increase their income.
We will see how farmers from across the country can benefit from our experts' advice.
While also learning from each other in so many ways.
Join us on these journeys and share in the farmers' experiences as they improve their farms.
On
Munda Makeover!
So, Kachanana,
Yes.
how are you feeling on this beautiful day?
Cozy, to be honest, I'm not feeling too good. I'm feeling lonely. At least until we meet our farmer and join forces with them.
Well, that's our topic for today.
Really?
The benefits of working as a group.
Because there's strength in numbers.
That's right, and if our farmers can learn to work together as a group, they get shared knowledge and also a little extra bargaining power as well.
Let's find out more about that.
There's no way you can be lonely if you're in a group.
High five! Cozy!
This week we are in Kabwanyanga in Eastern Province.
And we're visiting Florence Chirwa.
Her farm covers 2 hectares.
Sadly, Florence has lost her husband. But despite this, she managed to become a successful farmer.
And part of the reason has been down to joining a farmers group.
So this week, we wanted to find out how the group has helped while learning about some of their training programs.
And maybe we can still bring Florence a few solutions of our own, Cozy.
So let's go and meet her. Hello!
Hello.
Muli uli!
Makola mludi.
Makola!
Yeah.
Please tell us, what challenges are you facing on your farm?
Nifuna kukolola.
I want to increase my yield
Ni makolola bwino bati.
because it's not enough.
Ni vingono.
Are there no other challenges that you are facing?
Mavute meni tumapesa.
I would like help in better farming ways and also in making our farmers group even more productive so we can improve our work.
Okay, Kachanana, let's go and call our experts and see how they can help.
So, to begin, we're going to take Florence to meet Alfonso Kahalawe, an expert from the Ministry of Agriculture. He is here to train some of the group's new members on how to increase yield while avoiding the worst effects of climate change and unpredictable rainfall.
First, tell us, what is conservation agriculture exactly?
Okay. Conservation agriculture is basically the type of agriculture that is being adopted by the Ministry of Agriculture. As you are seeing, we are coming from the Ministry of Agriculture.
Right.
Going by the change of the climate, we are trying to adapt to the change of climate. So this conservation agriculture is one way that we have used that will more like improve yields of the farmers, both in the short run and the long run. We have a number of principles, but the major ones will zero into, I think, to about 3. The first one being the minimum tillage. We are trying to reduce the disturbance of the soil. We just disturb where we do the planting.
So what do you mean not disturbing the soil? Right.
We just concentrate on where you do the planting. Because previously our parents, they were plowing even where they will not plant. And that way you are more like opening the stench and making the soil vulnerable for being eroded. So to avoid that, we've just said, let's concentrate on where you are doing the planting.
Is that how you are doing it yourselves?
Yes.
Okay. So what's the second principle?
We are looking at basically the rotation to break the monotony of same crop, same field. There's a lot of disadvantages. Among them is a build-up of what? Soil-borne diseases or pests. The other one is when you rotate, there's maximum utilization of the what? Nutrients. Because crops have different feeding habits. Others feed from deep down, others feed shallowly. So when you rotate in that way, you're able to maximize the utilization of that piece of land.
Okay. So what is the third principle?
The third principle, we are looking at basically issues of the residue retention. So
Okay.
for now, we have groundnut
Groundnuts.
residues. You spread them within your field
Okay.
so that there's a bigger piece of land that is protected to check the erosion.
Okay.
Because of the climate change, there's erratic rainfall. We don't know when the next rain will come.
Right.
So once there's a cover on the ground, they tend to hold a lot of moisture that will prolong the life of our crop in a given piece of land. When it rains, then they decompose.
Okay.
And when they decompose, they add to the soil fertility in our field.
Some farmers burn the crop residue. I want to know if this is a good idea.
The eastern part of Zambia, we have a delicacy of the game pint, which are the mice. You find that people tend to dig and then also they burn the residue. And that way you tend to reduce the residue that are in the field.
So do you mean burning crops is a bad idea?
It is a very bad idea according to conservation agriculture. So we try to teach farmers as much as possible to protect their fields. We tell them, if anything, we create a fire guard along their fields so that they protect the residues that are in the field.
And all of you are doing this. Are you not burning? Jan?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I know you said conservation agriculture does affect yield in a positive way, but really how much does it affect the yield?
In the initial years, you'll not appreciate conservation agriculture because of the drudgery. But later, in the years to come, there's some steady increase of yield. Our focus basically is to increase on the productivity on a given piece of land.
Okay, but what did the group's long-term members think about this?
We are using these methods, and it's helping us a lot. Before, we would farm in a bigger land and get very little harvest. But now, even in our small land, we are getting more harvest.
That is definitely a plus and something that any farmer would want.
Wow, great information, Kachanana. Now I'm joining a training session on the first principle of conservation agriculture, minimum tillage, and how to plant groundnuts. But there's a twist. Here, farmers don't cut the trees to plant. They plant in between the trees. It's a climate-smart solution called Agroforestry. How does this help reduce the effects of drought? Timothy Peary, an expert from Komako, is going to explain.
We are being faced with climate change.
Of course.
We need also to be tactful in the way we are doing our land preparation.
Absolutely.
Yes. In situations where we receive less rains, we need to harvest the little moisture that we receive.
Exactly.
Then in cases where we have very excess rains, we should not lose our seeds when we plant them.
Indeed. So to protect the moisture in the soil, only dig in the area where you want to plant.
You should make sure that the depth is 15 centimeters.
Okay.
Yes. When you reach 15 centimeters, you have opened up for all the bacterium that are working in this area. And this is 15 centimeters. So they have reached the depth.
Next, return the topsoil until it's about 5 centimeters below the surface, the same as the height of a matchbox.
So at this stage, even when I place my seed there, this gap is able to harvest enough water.
Right. Then place the seeds on the top 10 centimeters apart.
So even if rains falls today, there will be a lot of moisture. Even if 4 days, 5 days, there is no rain,
Right.
at least the seeds that I have placed here, they will have enough moisture.
Cover the seed lightly with the remainder of the soil. The loose topsoil under the seed allows the roots to spread, while the soil above allows for easy germination.
So this way, it really helps us respond to climate harsh conditions.
Indeed.
You are assured of getting a harvest.
What is the benefit of creating our rows in between the lines of Gliricidia trees?
These trees acts as an insect repellent.
Wow.
There are insects that would want to eat the leaves of the crop.
Right.
But because of the scent that these leaves remove, those insects will be repelled. Then the second thing is, when you look at these trees, they maintain the wind speed. So it enables a very good cool wind that may pick the pollen from one plant to the stigma of another plant. Then again, when you look at the flowers, they attract insects. So when bees land on these plants, they are also able to see the flowers in your growing plants. Pick pollen from one plant to the other, and you have very good yields.
So, Kachanana,
Yes, Cozy.
are you still feeling a bit lonely?
How can I feel lonely? I've met all these amazing farmers and they've got great produce that I'm gonna sample, like the groundnuts.
Because food for the soil means food for the crops, means healthy food for us, Cozy.
Okay, it's time to find out some more about the Gliricidia tree and its important role in providing healthy food for the soil. To explain, we have another training session with our expert, Timothy Peary from Compost.
Here we are looking at Gliricidia sepium tree. This tree has a lot of benefits. So one of the benefits that it has is good nutrients from the biomass, the leaves.
Right.
Actually, it's a legume tree.
Okay.
So it has a taproot system.
Indeed.
So it can send this taproot system even up to a depth of 20 meters underground.
Wow, so the roots can go that deep?
Yes.
Gliricidia have taproots that penetrate deep underground. These roots contain a bacteria called rhizobia. This rhizobia can capture nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium that would otherwise be lost and transport them from the roots up through the stem and into the leaves.
That means those lost nutrients will be now found in the leaves.
Right.
Then when we harvest the leaves, we need to place the leaves in a sack. So this is the biomass that has been harvested, and the nutrition value in this biomass is as equivalent as inorganic compounds,
Right.
even more.
I see.
So now when it is full, I have to tie it nicely and take it where there is shade and store it.
to preserve,
The
nutritional content
yes,
of the leaves.
Of the leaves. And when I prepare my land, I have to make sure that these, I incorporate them in my planting spots.
Right.
Yes.
If you use 1 handful or 50 grams of leaves in each planting spot, then you will need 500 kilo of leaves for a 50 by 50 lima. Gliricidia has other benefits. Seed from the tree can be sold for extra income. And then if some of the stems of the trees are cut, the side roots below ground will rot and produce even more nourishment for the soil.
So this is my pruning saw. As you can see, it has blades. So when I use it for cutting,
Right.
it will not injure my tree.
Right.
Because I have to preserve this tree at all costs.
Right.
Because it's the one that is giving me nutrients
Of course.
that I need.
Now you're saying that we're going to be cutting. Is there
Yes.
a name for this process?
Yes, it's called coppicing.
Coppicing.
Yes.
Okay.
I need to cut at 1 meter, and 1 meter is almost my waist.
Right.
So I'll come near here,
Okay.
then try to measure my waist. It's almost there.
Okay.
So
I see.
this is my cutting point.
I see.
Yes. At cutting, I'll
Yes.
cut at an angle.
Why is that?
If I cut straight like this,
Right.
when rain comes, water will get in using the midrib. And when it gets there, it will start rotting.
No.
Then
we don't
I'll
want
lose
that.
this tree.
Yeah.
So I don't want to lose it. Start cutting at an angle. As you can see, when I'm cutting, I'm not injuring this tree.
No.
Yes.
That's a very clean cut there.
Yeah. So when water comes, it will just
Run off.
run off like that. Then this, what I've cut, since I've already removed the leaves, I'll use it at my homestead as firewood. No need to go in the natural bush to gather firewood. Yes.
This tree is like a super plant.
And the other advantage is it's a fast-growing tree.
Right.
So immediately I coppice like this, 3 to 4 months, I'll see new shoots coming out.
Wow. Okay, now here's some tips on planting Gliricidia. It's best to use a 2 to 3 month old seedling. Dig a planting hole and add a half to 1 kg of manure or compost. Mix well with the soil. Space trees 1 to 2 meters apart for woodlots and 20 centimeters apart for fodder crops. The Gliricidia tree has yet another advantage for farmers like Florence.
We sell the Gliricidia seeds and get money from it. So it helps us in many ways.
So conservation agriculture is all about having healthy soil. Healthy soil is food for healthy plants. But how do we feed the soil? Kachanana is finding out all about that.
The Gliricidia tree has so many benefits for the soil. But there's more. If the leaves are combined with manure, ash, and other waste materials, it can form part of a superfood for plants.
Today, our meeting mainly is on how we can make a compost heap.
Okay.
The surfaced compost heap.
Okay.
Because it's easier to make.
Okay.
And also, the period is short. It only takes 2 months.
Where should the compost be put?
It should be semi on the sun and semi in the shade.
Oh, okay.
So that in the morning, when the sun is up, your compost receives at least enough heat and sunlight. Then when it's after overhead, then it should be in the shade to allow the decomposition to go on well. So the first step is that we need to make a bedding. One compost heap should be 1 meter width and then 2 meters length.
Okay.
Okay, so 1.
1. Okay.
It's 1 meter here.
Okay.
Yeah, from here to there in now length, it's 1, 2.
Okay.
Okay, so we can mark these points so that we can now
And
make
another one this side.
our bedding. Okay, another 1. Okay. Now we can dig at least depth of about 5 centimeters deep.
Okay.
This will act as our bedding, so that when we pour water, as we will be watering our compost, this will be holding the water together
Okay.
to allow easy decomposition.
Okay. So what is the benefit of having a compost heap on a farm?
Number 1, you use local available materials
Right.
to make organic fertilizer. Number 2, this type of fertilizer adds fertility to our soils and also improves your soil structure and texture. Then number 3, it's easy to transport from where you have made it to your fields where you are going to be applying your compost manure. So the next step is that we need to put now sunflower stalks.
Why are they the first?
Because these are going to help to regulate and allow a smooth flow of air from the top to the bottom for the first materials that we're going to lay to decompose quickly.
Okay.
We need now to put 5 liters of water because the water is going now to awaken the micro-living organisms that are here.
Okay.
It acts like a whistle to call them to say there is work, quickly, let's go. Okay, so stage 4 requires us to put maize stalks that have been chopped.
Okay.
Why we put these as our first layer on the compost is because these have got glucose. There is sweet in these stalks.
Okay.
And then these will attract termites and micro-living organisms to quickly come and start doing their work. What next do you think we should do?
Let me guess.
Okay, try.
Water.
Correct. I think we should deserve a hand of applause. Good. We are going to now add material from a legume crop, either from soybeans, groundnuts, beans, or cowpeas, any.
Okay.
And because these are legumes, when they decompose, they'll fix again the nitrogen that was stored in these materials.
More water.
I think she deserves another hand of applause. So in short, every layer you put, you need to put 5 liters of water. So we need now green matter. Here we recommend Gliricidia leaves.
Okay.
But you can use any leaves that have got a lot of nitrogen, potassium and phosphorus in them,
Right.
which are the major components that our crops need to support them for growth and also stem development. So please, let's put another 5 liters of water on top. To make our compost manure rich, we are going to bring now semi-fresh animal manure.
Any manure?
Any manure, cow manure, pig manure, goat manure. Why we are doing that, we are trying to introduce micro-living organisms to our compost heap.
Let me guess. 5 liters of water again.
Exactly. So each layer needs 5 liters of water. Now we are going to bring boucher or wood
Boucher.
ash. Yes.
Why is it important?
In cow dung, there are seeds for the weeds. So when you apply this, it will kill all the seeds for the weeds.
Is it the one you find at the end of your fire when you've been cooking?
Yes. So this also acts as your agriculture lime.
Okay.
Yeah, it actually neutralizes the acidity in the soil.
Okay.
So it's very important to add to your compost manure.
Mr. Luca, do you realize that if this was a sandwich, it would be a very expensive sandwich?
You are correct. Actually, I'm salivating now.
So it's a hot dog for our crops.
Yes.
Okay.
Then we'll put now the last layer that we're supposed to put. soil from an anthill.
What's so special about the soil from the anthill?
There's a lot of iron,
Okay.
a lot of calcium there because of the termites. By nature, termites, they like to dig and fish out these nutrients from the soils.
Okay.
At this stage, we need to cover this compost heap completely so that heat is introduced and then decomposition begins.
Okay.
So we use the same soil that we removed when we were making a bedding for this compost.
How do you know that it's now ready? Do you just count 8 weeks and you declare it done, or there's a way of checking like in the oven?
Okay, so this is a dry stick
Okay.
as your thermometer. So like this.
Okay.
7 to 14 days.
Yes.
We pull it out. If it's warm or hot, you know that decomposition is taking place.
Mr. Luca, did you know that's exactly the way we check if the cake is ready in the oven?
Because we are also cooking here.
Ah,
Yes.
good point.
Yes.
We are cooking some manure.
So this is what we do on top of our compost, so that when you come, after 2 days, you water your compost with a 20-liter amount of water.
Mr. Luke, this is no longer a burger, it's now a pie.
Exact. The bank of a farmer is the soil.
Nice.
So when you feed the soil, it will feed you.
I think you deserve a cup. Yes, yes.
So for my final job today, I'm going to meet Florence's Farmers Group to see if working together has helped them work faster and become better farmers. How do you really benefit from working as a group?
As a group,
As a group, work is easy. We share the work. It takes time to plant 10,000 trees, but in a group, we do it very easily.
That sounds fantastic. I mean, labor is a very important thing when it comes to farming.
As a group, it's very easy to find a better market and to share business ideas.
I like that. That is very crucial.
I am the guard. That is the job the group has given me. To guard the trees. In a group, it is easy to protect our trees and guard them from charcoal burners. Something you cannot do on your own.
So it's easier for you to guard your trees as a group by emphasizing that your trees must not be cut and be protected.
In terms of transportation, because you are in a group, you can ferry your goods to the market easily.
And who else?
You see, when we plant trees, there are some organizations that give us grants, carbon credit money.
Right, so the more you protect your trees, it also brings a financial benefit to the whole group.
We also train in our groups and help each other on how to farm, how to plant our seeds, take care of our crops.
You can't learn much by yourself. There's a lot we share. From the group, I learned about savings, I saved, and even bought land from my savings.
Absolutely brilliant, because without land, you can't farm. Now, working as a group has certainly helped these farmers. And now it's time to say goodbye. But first, we have a surprise.
Florence is doing so well since she started farming, and being a member of a group has helped her even more. So much so, we have a surprise for you. With the extra money that she has made from farming, she started her own shop. Hey Florence, this is looking good. Did you enjoy our visit?
Of course. Together with my group from Komoko, we are very happy. I have really enjoyed.
God bless you.
Thank you. Yeah. God bless you too.
You started this shop with the profits from farming.
Yes, I started this shop because of farming. I grew groundnuts, and that is why I have this shop.
Well done. But that's all we had for you this week.
We'll see you next week on another episode of
Munda Makeover!